Some people will say you shouldn't be using this tool or you shouldn't be doing that tool.
Use what the hell you like. Like I said, if you get to the look you want to get, often people have bad experiences with tools, clients included as well. And I think we're too quick to jump on, that didn't work for me once, so I'm never going to use it again. So with a lot of things, I remember the first haircut I did, it took me like 4 hours to do, just to get a one length line in. But I persevered and continued with that. And after a period of time, now I can do one in half an hour. But those first few times I did it was really difficult. The first time or second time I used a razor, I decided to do somebody's fringe, slipped and cut a dirty great big chunk out the front. I was like, oh my God, I'm never using them again. But I've gone back to using them because I've practiced a little bit more, and that hasn't happened since then. I mean, that was a mistake.
What I like about what you do, Keith, you do it with a humour, not taking yourself too serious, but actually you're very serious about what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, just because there's laughing and joking going on, I mean, chippy, choppy, chunky, funky, whatever you want to call it. Again, it's a made-up hairdressing word, and I've been talking about making those words up, but you're trying to make lessons memorable so people remember particular things that you want to highlight or get them to remember when they go back. So if chippy, choppy, chunky, funky is what you want to remember, then if these people that have watched the TikTok have gone away and they've remembered it, well, maybe I've gone in because they've remembered something from that particular thing. It's making emotional contacts with people when they're in a classroom, either virtually or with them in person. As soon as you get an emotional connection with people, it makes the learning more memorable so that it stays with them for longer. And often with certainly the skills I've learned over the years in regards to questioning skills, asking people questions, leading or guiding them towards an answer rather than telling them the answer, it means that the answer is, for them, I don't want to say they've earned it, but they've worked a little bit harder for it. So it becomes more memorable to them because and you have to sort of set it up at the start. Say, like, I'm going to ask you a few questions. I'm not just saying this stuff just to annoy you. I want to get you somewhere, but I want you to get there yourself so that information stays with you for longer. Because if I give it to you, it's like a present at Christmas. You look at it and go, thanks very much, throw it away, and it's forgotten about. So, all these little things that you can do within a class can help make things just that little bit better for the person that's in front of you.
I'm going back to your Instagram. So what does it say about you, your Instagram grid?
For me, it's generally like, I want to give tips. Look at those things that cause you problems and look at some solutions towards them about why they're happening. I think that's the big thing. You can watch lots and lots of education things where it's what and how to do. This is what you do and this is how you do it. But why gets missed out, I would say, with 95% of educators. They don't go down the why. And the why is the big thing that you need to be explained. Because as soon as you've got the why, the what and the how come into place afterwards. And it's doing it in a fun way to take that, oh shit, what the hell's happened there? What have I done there? Out of it, because we've all been there. And anybody that says they haven't is talking out of their backside, because the amount of times I've ducked round the back of the head doing somebody's hair thinking, oh my God, I don't know what to do. Obviously, I'm not saying out loud because they don't know what I'm thinking, but I'm doing it, but I'm hiding around the back. And that one where you through in the hair, you're sort of putting your hands through the hair, picking it up, trying to work out how you cut it last time. I've been there. I know, I know what you're doing when you're doing that. I see people do it, or they're stroking the hair loads. It's like, it's because maybe you're not as confident as you feel you need to be with regards to doing it. And like I said, me making a joke and a laugh about it, it isn't that serious, but it is. If that makes sense.
It is.
I'm not saving lives. No, I'm not brain surgeon. Courses are really difficult to fill, and I think it's one of those things when you're looking at the.
Are they difficult to fill?
Yeah, I think. Well, personally, I think I struggle at times to fill them, and a lot of mine come through personal recommendation and stuff like that. Tends to be the main thing, and I think it's when you see other people. Class is full and this, that and the other. I mean, part of me is like, I don't know how much of that's actually true. If it is, great on you. I mean, let me know how
Nearly sold out, just 2 places remaining.
Yeah, that's it. It's sold out. I've only got one person on it. But it's all for this big white belt we call the internet, social media. So that what it looks like and what's actually happening can be sometimes two different things, and it's very, very hard. I think that's certainly being independent as opposed to being with a company. With a company, you've got the umbrella network of there's always there might be shows going on. There's something to be associated with, and certainly for me. And again, that's why I got in contact with you guys, is that I felt lost because I'd left a big organisation where I was a part of something, and all of a sudden I'm like, I'm on my own now. Mummy, where do I go?
Do you feel that was the right move for you to do?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it was a hard one. I can't say it was an easy one because I've got lots and lots of friends that are still there, and I've still got a huge amount of respect for the people that I've met there over the years that do some fantastic educational work. Some of it, if anybody's been on a Redkin course, can be a little bit cult-like. They sort of hands in the middle and high fives and all this type of stuff. So that, some of it, I'm like,
I mean, there's some big guns that have come out the Redkin.
Yeah.
You've worked with Lee Stafford, haven't you? Quite regular. You know Lee well.
Yeah, well, Lee over the years, we've done some stuff with him, with his education, and also with Redkin as well. Andrew Barton was there for a few years. Lisa Shepherd. And then you've
Chris
got
Moody.
Chris Moody, good old Chris, top guy.
You don't strike me as maybe the person that I would have thought, Keith Owen, he's a geezer type of guy. What took you down this route?
When I was 16, which was back in 1989, give you an idea of how old I am, they were in the days where you couldn't do certain jobs unless you were a certain height. So we're getting sexes out of the way. None of this sexism stuff. Height was one of the things. Glasses was another thing. So I wanted to be a fireman. I wasn't tall enough. You had to be 6 foot tall. Glasses and slightly asthmatic. So going into smoking rooms wasn't an option. And at the time, I had a friend of my mum's son was working in a hairdresser's. It's out in the middle of nowhere. So I lived down in Kent, which is... for those of you who don't know, if anybody looking for elsewhere, I'm probably about 45 minutes from London and about 45 minutes from the coast. I'm somewhere in between the two. And there's a little village, and my mum's friend's son was working there, and he'd left, and they had a Saturday job going. I said, do you want to go and earn some money? It's 25 quid for a Saturday and the odd Monday night. So 25 quid back in 89, or it might have been earlier than that, probably 88 might be, was probably the equivalent of £4,000 to do, 4,000, but it was a lot of money just for a Saturday back in the day. So I was like, oh, go on then, I don't really want to do it, but I'll go and do it. So really traditional, barber shop at the front, hairdressers out the back. I can't remember the guy's name that owned it, but I remember his bloke that used to work at Vernon used to smoke Rothmans whilst he was working and had 7 sugars in his tea. So he's probably diabetic and dead now, bless him. But we're good fun guys. And he used to have the football on before Sky had it, up on a TV up in the room. And he was a massive Arsenal supporter, that's all I remember. And he used to cut hair and watch the TV at the same time. And his haircuts, funny enough, was shocking. It wasn't his only strike. So he used to watch football and cut hair. Anyway, I was like, God, that's pretty good. That's not bad, is it? And then on a Monday, about 2 weeks later, he said, set the shop up exactly the same, but we were getting there like 8 o'clock, no, not 8 o'clock, like 6 o'clock at night till 9 o'clock. So I set the shop as normal, clippers out, water sprays, this, that and the other, and then he had a bag in the corner and he said, take everything out of the bag and put it around the shop. So I've gone over, remember I was 15 at the time, and pornography used to come in magazines, right, before you could get it online. Back in the olden days. And there was all these pornographic magazines in there. And I put them around, he told me to put them around the shop. So I was like, this is amazing. What a great job. You get football on a Saturday and pornography on a Monday and some slightly shocking haircuts in between the two. And I had at the time, my mum's hairdresser, a guy called Simon. And Simon did my hair a couple of times. And his haircutting was... I knew there was a difference because I had my haircut with him and I'd had my haircut with the guy that used to watch the football. And funnily enough, one looked slightly better than the other. And I said to my mum, well, where did he do his training, that bloke Simon? He said, oh, he did that in London at Vidal Sassoon. And I was like, I'll go there then. I didn't know who they were. I didn't have a clue who Sassoons were. I mean, obviously back then, it's not so much now. I think it's been diluted down now because there's lots of other people doing stuff. But certainly back in the day, it was like a really well-known company. And like I said, I didn't have a clue who they were. So I rung them up. Have you got any jobs going? Yeah. So I went up for an interview. I remember my dad took me up on the train up to London. We walked from Victoria up to Bond Street. And then I just had a pair of trendy jeans there and a shirt on. I don't think my shoes were overly clean. Remind me about clean shoes in a bit because there's a story to do with that as well. So got there, 30 of us there for the interview, and Robert Meyer, who was the manager at Sloane Square, interviewed me there. I can't remember who the other one was, but I remember Robert was there. And didn't hear anything back. Like I said, 30 there. I knew there was lots of other interviews going ahead. And when I started, there was 30 of us that started, but probably from my interview, there's probably only 2 of us that got through from that. So there was a big amount of people that got interviewed. And this was in the days where you'd have an assistant per stylist, or a junior is what they used to call them, an assistant per stylist. So I then started and I worked my first stylist with a lovely gay Italian man called Roberto. For me, I'd never met a gay guy before. Again, coming from a very sort of country background, and my dad was very there'd be lots of gays up there and all this type of stuff, and you'd be careful. And Roberto was such a gentle, kind man. He was such a beautiful hairdresser, and just a lovely guy. So I remember he was my first. I was his first assistant, and then Hans was a Dutch. I don't think he's no longer with us anymore. Hans had a massive female and gay male clientele. His female clientele were like drooling all over him, not knowing that he was gay. And I used to shampoo all these male clients, so they used to love the 16-year-old lad shampooing their hair, and he used to wind me up and go, this is from my last client. He said, you have a really nice shampoo. And I'd be like, oh, no, getting all squeamish and stuff. Honestly, it's ridiculous. When I look back at it now, but like I said, you have to remember I've come from a time where we're not in such an accepting time as we are now, which is fab.